Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we're going to be doing a VOD review of Mr. Savage in the semifinals of the EU, F, and CS. And actually, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting one, and you can tell by the title, not going to be your typical VOD review. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We are going to be looking at how Mr. Savage fights, not only just how he W keys, but most importantly, the best way to utilize crash pads. So I'm going to be jumping through this VOD a little bit. You know, the replay system's not always the best. I mean, heck, even just having in a game, I get the black screen from OBS. But we're going to be looking at some of these fights, and then ultimately we'll be looking at the end game with Mr. Savage as well. So he's actually got a couple players here, and I've looked at most of the fights in this one gameplay. This is a game that he got 13 kills and a win. And I want you guys to just look at the most perfect, unpredictable, mostly unpredictable nature of how Mr. Savage likes to set up and either play off this right hand with this diagonal box when he's looking to W key players, or more specifically, how he uses the crash pads. And again, I baited you in with the title, but this is hands down the most unpredictable. People are not ready for this best way to use the crash pads in the current meta right now. So I think this is just going to turn into a second fight. We're going to go ahead and watch this one. And again, this is a pretty simple video. Gets control of all of the walls, loses that one, but he finds this kill. And this is just a nice little back-to-back kill. So we're going to go ahead and pause here, and we're going to move through the VOD, because again, I really want to show you guys how he's fighting, but also specifically how he's using these crash pads, and even some of that end-game utilization of the crash pads as well. So ignore the eliminations, it's just catching up. But look at this positioning. Diagonal box next here to, is this what, Lonely? And then he plays with his right hand, gets control of the wall, and then looks to kind of chase up a little bit. So first and foremost, when he makes that diagonal box, let's go ahead and pause for a second. When he makes that diagonal box, what he's doing is giving himself the right hand peek on, you know, potential wall takes. And, you know, assuming that he knows how to play the game and has some pretty decent ping, he's obviously going to get control of some of those pieces himself. But also, if he can take his time, when you're at that diagonal box, you're really like one box away from being right at that barrier of that other player. They feel kind of relaxed, and then he can use that crash pad. So let's go ahead and keep watching again. Look at this diagonal box. That player feels relaxed. He feels safe. He's inside his box, and Mr. Savage throws it right here in the corner. Flies in and gets the shot. Now that shot looked a little bit weird when I saw this one earlier. I think he was cutting down and he got shot again from the replay system. Looks a little bit bizarre, but nothing too crazy. So let's go ahead and speed up a little bit if we can. I don't want to miss anything skipping around too much. So we'll go ahead and just watch it from here. Mr. Savage just hanging out in his pyramid. And again, we're actually going to break down the end game as well, just to go ahead and finish up the VOD review. But look at the same positioning. One diagonal box over on that right hand, throws it right there in the corner, jumps inside the box, finds another easy kill. The thing about this tactic is, yes, we know that players know how to use the crash pads to get inside boxes. It's become one of the most effective W key you know, tactics in the game, but it's this diagonal box that is much more exciting. It's this diagonal box that's specifically it just changes everything. So you know, really takes a player from feeling completely safe and throws them right in the face. Also, the other thing to note, and I don't know if this is specifically by design, but definitely something that I've been wanting to talk about a little bit, using the tactical shotgun for a strategy like this, I think is probably better. But also just in general, using a tactical shotgun in the end game for end game pop-offs is very, very important. So, and again, we'll look, see if I can speed us up a little bit, get us to this next kill, and then we will watch the end game. I got a little bit of time on this. All right, get the resetted UI. Okay, so he's at a diagonal box again. He knows that player's in there. He's got 4 crash pads, and he's 100. Golden tack shotgun, the best potential to trade. Throws it right at the corner, jumps in the box, and just like that, starts to push in, finds it again. I mean, I'm telling you right now, the title is clickbait, but I think that I'm being honest. This is the most effective way to W key a player in the current meta. This is, in my opinion, hands down the most effective tactic for using a crash pad in combination with a tactical shotgun, making the other player, not only do they know that you're close, yeah, sure, but they feel safe. Next thing they know, they're just not ready for it. And the tactical shotgun is perfect for that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and jump a little bit forward. think we'll see if we can just go ahead and watch the end game, because he uses the crash pads at end game, and I want to make note of some of those tactics as well if we're going to just go ahead and dive into the gameplay of Mr. Savage. So let's go ahead and reset the UI again, ignore the eliminations popping up, and at this point, you know, this is a great game. Again, this is a semifinals game, so it's really important to try to get kills, but also, you know, you want to be playing end game, and that's a perfect example is here. So Mr. Savage, after W King, has 4 launch pads, so you have to take like everything that's happening with a little bit of a grain of salt. And actually, I need to turn this down a little bit. You gotta take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, because yeah, it's you know, he's got a crazy loadout. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for y'all earlier, but this one, I actually, every time I've watched this kill, it just freezes, so I have to assume he probably just piece controlled the player was low, and then he's got this next guy just kind of chasing up after him. But Mr. Savage, he has launch pads. You see him pop a little short pad, it doesn't really get him where he wants, and then he chases this player down and finds an easy kill. And again, this is just to make some note about what's going on. He gets himself some more crash pads, and then has this player here on the edge, and he's got floppers, so this player has already taken a shot. He's just holding them out and finds free refresh off of it. And again, he's got the floppers. 9 kills at this point. Again, 2 more launch pads. You can see him looking to go out here and set up a launch pad, and this is just perfect composure, right? Sets up that short pad and is pushing himself all the way to the front of the zone. So constantly playing endgame, playing for positioning. And let's see, is this a diagonal box that he wants to dive into? Yes, it is, but unfortunately it doesn't line up for him. But again, look at the consistency in his tactic, right? Like, it's what he wants to do to try to get into players' boxes. Fortunately, it didn't really line up that way. I think he picks up a kill right here just off the edge, and then alphas up on some of this loot, so kind of bullies this player out, gets himself another launch pad. All right, let's see. Still has 2 more launch pads. Uses another short pad, gets right here over by Skype. Gets a little bit of control, piece control onto Skype, but doesn't get the kill entirely. And now just hanging out, looking at the edge. He's at the front of the zone. He's got that zone pull on his back, and he just has this free ability. Player is going to be looking at him, and he almost gets this kill, but doesn't quite get it. And look at that. Even when he's not getting in the box, just using it to push himself forward. He doesn't want to go too high. It's a small form jump with the right angle. So something to think about with the crash pad if you don't want to go too far, if you just need to get a little bit of distance. And there again, not setting up a ramp, doesn't have to do anything crazy, just throws it at the front of his box and flies through with that crash pad. So whether he's using it to get inside the box, just like this, every single time, over and over, or using it just to keep himself pushing forward, the crash pads are absolutely meta right now, and Mr. Savage is showing us why. FN Lewis gets crashed out of there. And we're going to continue watching. Now, I actually haven't watched the rest of this one, but everything I've been seeing and actually watching this week's FNCS, you know, from the main broadcast and seeing Mr. Savage's perspective, I knew that I wanted to make a video on him. I just wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to frame it, and then I saw his specific utilization of crash pads, and it's very, very impressive. He's on his last 500 mats here, but most likely going to pick up this elimination onto FN Lewis, and if he can... It's got some splashes. He's going to go ahead and look to launch out. Might even alpha height. He has the mats for it. Just doesn't want to take too much damage. FN Lewis actually dies and gives him that refresh. That HP refresh at least. And just 28 builds left. Mr. Savage has 1 more crash pad, but he does not have control of the high ground. So he's going to go ahead and drop. Blocks himself off a little bit. Has that charge shotgun above him. Down to his last 2 builds. Has 1 more crash pad, looks to take the height. Takes the height, gets some damage. But again, doesn't have much left. And then just kind of positions perfectly and jumping down next to him and finds the elimination. So, pretty crazy, man. And really, that's my video. I don't know what else more to say. I personally am very, very impressed with the utilization of crash pads from Mr. Savage. He makes it seem simple. The setup is almost non-existent. You know, he throws them at the front of his box when he wants to go forward, throws them in the corner when he wants to, you know, box dive in diagonally if he has it set up that way, if he's positioned that way. And ultimately, I think I think this player is insane, and I really think he's showing us something, you know, with the potential of the tactical shotgun. Again, I don't know if that's by design or if it's just the best shotgun he had. You know, maybe I'll have to do a little bit more research and just studying of this particular player's playstyle, but I think it's a really good combination because you really just jump in the box, you can piece control around yourself, you can land those 2 shots really quickly. The other player's barely going to be ready. They're not going to have their charged shotgun ready, you know, to kind of rebuttal with a big shot, and then you're going to land yourself that kill. So thanks for checking out this video. As always, I'm going to try to keep the content rolling. I really do appreciate all the support, and I'm trying to stay on top of things. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it. It definitely helps out the channel as I'm just continuing to grow and continuing to kind of find my stride with instructional commentary stuff and looking to get into coaching as well. So thanks again for checking out this video, and I'll see you in the next video.